The Philadelphia Eagles are currently standing on a razor's edge, and if you haven't realized it yet, the entire foundation of this championship-contending roster is wobbling. We are staring down the barrel of a massive contract standoff, a bizarre string of unexplained departures, and a high-stakes hunt for a superstar edge rusher that could either cement this team as a dynasty or blow their entire future to smithereens. Before we dive into the wreckage of these negotiations and the mystery behind the latest roster ghosting, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. There is a storm brewing, and it starts with the most explosive defensive force on the team. We are exactly 1 month away from the heat of training camp, and yet the locker room feels like a pressure cooker waiting to explode. The focal point of this madness, Jalen Carter. During the most recent mandatory minicamp, the scene was unsettling. Carter was spotted working through individual drills, but when the team period started, the moments where the real football happens, he was nowhere to be found. He sat on the sidelines. He didn't take a single team snap. Now, the whispers started instantly. Why would a rising star, a player who has shown flashes of being the most dominant interior defensive lineman in the entire league, choose to step back? The answer, according to the latest intel, is a clash of titans between his camp and the front office. We aren't just talking about a minor disagreement. We are talking about a potential market-resetting contract negotiation that has reached a complete standstill. But here's where the story gets darker. If you think the front office is just going to hand over a blank check, you haven't been paying attention to how they operate. But wait until you hear the astronomical numbers being thrown around and why the decision-makers are actually terrified to pull the trigger. The reality of the situation is this. Jalen Carter wants to be the highest-paid defensive tackle in the history of the NFL. He is looking for a deal that would shatter the current market, likely pushing north of $100 million over 3 or 4 years. We are talking about an average annual value eclipsing the $33 million mark, which would instantly dwarf the massive contract Chris Jones recently signed. For the front office, this isn't just about the money. It is about the risk. While the talent is undeniable, the resume has some serious red flags that cannot be ignored. Think back to the start of the last campaign. He missed significant time in training camp due to shoulder issues. Then, in the blink of an eye during the season opener, he was involved in a bizarre, heated incident where he spat on Dak Prescott, leading to an immediate ejection. That is the kind of erratic behavior that keeps general managers up at night. On top of the temperament issues, the durability factor is starting to look like a recurring nightmare. He only managed to suit up for 11 regular season games last year, hampered by that lingering shoulder injury. When he did play, the production, just 3.5 sacks, left many wondering if he had truly arrived or if he was still just scratching the surface. This leads us to a fascinating question. Who is actually to blame for this standoff, the player demanding his worth or the team playing it safe with their massive investment? Drop your take in the comments below. The front office has a track record of rewarding high-character, low-drama players. They have seen the fallout from high-profile locker room situations, and they are clearly gun-shy. This leaves us with 3 distinct paths. Path 1. They reach a team-friendly compromise, and everyone moves forward. Path 2. They push the issue to next off-season, essentially betting on each other's health and production. Path 3. The stalemate turns toxic. Carter refuses to play. The team refuses to pay, and we see a full-blown holdout as the season inches closer. If he is truly hell-bent on being the highest paid at his position before he straps on a helmet, do you really think he's going to risk his body in training camp without a new deal? It is a game of chicken, and the collision date is only 4 weeks away. But if you think that's the only drama in the trenches, think about it. Something truly strange is
It really dictates the defense dictates.
And it is becoming a trend that is impossible to ignore. We have to talk about the sudden, abrupt retirements that have become a ghost story for this organization. Just 2 days ago, Joe Koina officially walked away from the NFL. He didn't play a single snap for the team. He was signed, he was on the roster, and then, poof, he was gone. And this is not an isolated incident. It is a recurring nightmare that has haunted this franchise for 3 years. Look at the history. There was Jay Alexander, who followed a similar path. Then, There was the Zadarius Smith situation. The guy looked like the reincarnation of a legend, dominating early in his tenure, only to abruptly retire just 5 games later. Go back to 2024, and you find the Devontae Parker saga. Signed in March, gone by May, never even sniffed a training camp practice. And who could forget Miles Jack? They signed him in August, he endured 2 weeks of grind, and then he simply hung up his cleats. What is happening here? Is it the intensity of a locker room? Is it change of heart? Or is there something going on behind closed doors that the public isn't being told? It is becoming an annual ritual. Sign a veteran to a 1-year deal and watch them vanish in a thin air before the season really takes off. But as one door closes, another one, perhaps a massive one, seems to be swinging open. And this is the one that has every analyst and fan buzzing with pure adrenaline. We have to talk about Max Crosby again. I know. Every time we move on from the topic of the superstar edge rusher, a new report drops that drags us right back in. This isn't just smoke anymore. Reliable sources are now claiming that the interest from Philadelphia is nuclear hot. They are reportedly one of the 2 main teams locked in a fierce pursuit to bring the game wrecker to town. Now, does this mean the superstar is sitting in his team's office demanding a trade? Not necessarily, but it does mean the door is cracked open in a way it has never been before. Last year, the consensus was that he was untouchable. Today, that narrative has shifted. He could be had, provided the price is right and the team is the right fit. Why would the team be so aggressive? It's simple. The arms race in the NFC is real. Look at what the competition is doing. The Packers are adding elite pass rushing talent. The Rams are stacking their defensive front. The 49ers are in the hunt for the same prize. If Philadelphia wants to hoist the trophy at the end of the year, they cannot afford to stand still while everyone else is loading up their cannons. But there's a catch, a massive medical catch. It all comes down to his knee. That is the X factor. If that knee is cooked, the deal is dead on arrival. But if he is healthy and the asking price has dropped because of those lingering injury concerns, the front office might not be able to resist. Imagine a defense that features a healthy, hungry version of this superstar terrorizing quarterbacks every Sunday. It would change the entire identity of the team. If you were the one holding the keys to the kingdom, would you trade a second-round pick and a young, promising talent like Nolan Smith to pull the trigger on this trade today? It is a massive risk, but for a ring, some would say it's a gamble you have to take. While the defense is looking for that final piece of the puzzle, the linebacker core is undergoing a quiet, internal revolution. We aren't talking about a flashy free agent signing, but a battle for the starting spot that almost no one saw coming. The name you need to remember is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. He didn't come into the building with the fanfare of a first-round draft pick. He is a 5th-rounder, the kind of player who is expected to fight for a spot on special teams or provide depth. But the reports from the ground are impossible to ignore. He showed up to OTAs in the best shape of his life. He is moving with a level of instinct and intelligence that has even the veteran coaches nodding in approval. While the established players have been sidelined with nagging injuries, the younger talent has been devouring every single first-team rep he can get his hands on. He isn't just surviving. He is excelling in the defensive scheme. He is diagnostic. He is finding the ball. He is always in the right place at the right time. Some might argue that he is only shining because the competition is currently stuck in the trainer's room, and perhaps that is true. But the longer the established starters stay off the field, the more the foundation of the depth chart begins to shift. We're looking at a scenario where a young, hungry player is making it impossible for the coaches to keep him on the bench. Does this sound familiar? It's the same story we saw unfold with other players in this system. Guys who arrived with less hype but proved that they understood the game better than anyone else on the field. The competition at the linebacker position is the most intense it has been in over a decade. Keep your eyes on the jersey numbers, because the transition from the old guard to the new blood might happen faster than anyone expects. But beneath all these roster moves, contract dramas, and trade rumors, there's a much larger story unfolding. A story about the future of the franchise itself. There's a sense of transition in the air. Recent reports have started to peel back the curtain on the future leadership of the organization. For years, the face of the ownership has been clear, but there is a new, younger figure stepping into the light. Julian Lurie. The transition of power in the NFL is rarely a clean or quiet process. Yet the chatter coming out of the front office suggests something different here. We are hearing that the next generation is already deeply embedded in the operations, that he is present, listening, and molding himself into a leader who understands not just the business of the game, but the soul of the city and the players who wear the jersey. Father Time is the only opponent no one can beat. While the current leadership shows no sign of stepping away immediately, the organizational prep work is already well underway. This isn't just about handing over the keys to a kingdom. It is about ensuring that the stewardship of the team remains in hands that truly care. The people who work inside those walls are saying that if you're a fan, you should feel good about the path forward. They describe the future steward as creative, empathetic, and, most importantly, someone who listens. In a league often defined by cold, hard numbers, that human element might be the most valuable asset of all. So, as we stare down the barrel of another season, remember that the story of this team is about more than just the names on the back of the jerseys. It is about the friction of evolution. It is about the tension between the past and the future. From the boardroom to the trenches, the team is changing. The contract situation with the star defensive tackle remains a ticking time bomb. The mystery of the sudden retirements is a ghost that won't go away. The hunt for the superstar edge rusher is a high-stakes poker game that could change the landscape of the entire division. And the quiet rise of the young linebacker is a reminder that in this league, the best stories are often written by the players we never saw coming. We have 4 weeks until the chaos of training camp begins. 4 weeks for these storylines to resolve, explode, or transform into something else entirely. One thing is certain. The team you see today is not the team that will take the field when the real action starts. The pressure is mounting. The expectations have never been higher. And as we wait for the first whistle of the season, all we can do is watch the pieces move on the board, waiting to see if this grand strategy leads to glory or if it all comes crashing down. The clock is ticking, the stakes are massive, and the drama is only just beginning. Stay tuned, because when the next piece of this puzzle falls into place, the entire landscape of the league might shift once again. What happens over the next month won't just define the season. It will define the legacy of everyone involved. And when it finally kicks off, you want to know that you saw the truth behind the headlines before anyone else.